Okay, what's up, you guys? So, another thing I wanted to talk about. So, by trade, I'm a software engineer. I write code for a living, and I used my coding skills. Well, to be honest, I used ChatGPT to do it, but I created this whole program that does the pixelization and changes my voice and all that. And I used ChatGPT for it. I don't know how to use all those libraries necessarily. I certainly couldn't have done it as quickly without AI. So the AI stuff with programming has been really cool. And at my job, and I'm sure most jobs, they're trying to encourage people to use AI to help you get things done faster and things like that, which I think is great. However, just as a software engineer, I am really worried about AI taking my job, and I think it will. And I guess I just wanted to give you my perspective on where I think AI is going as far as taking our jobs as software engineers. And the way I see it is it's just like a grocery store. So at the grocery store, back in the day, you would go in, there would be a bunch of checkout lanes, and there would be one person working at each checkout lane, or maybe two. Maybe there's one person ringing up stuff and one person bagging stuff. Now you go into the grocery store, and what do you see? There'll be big banks of self-checkout, you know? So you'll have maybe four or six machines, or maybe up to like 12 machines, and they have essentially like one person working at those machines. I think that's basically where software engineering is heading at this point is, as a software engineer, you're going to be using AI, and the more that evolves over time, the more capable it'll be. And so instead of just writing code yourself, you'll essentially be managing an AI agent or potentially a team of AI agents. That's where the grocery store metaphor kind of comes in, because I see myself as a software engineer. I think it's going to work out like I am that one attendant at the grocery store paying attention to those six self-checkout registers, where those registers are basically, they're doing stuff, and then if there's some problem, I need to come in and fix it. Because like writing code with AI right now, it's pretty interesting. It works pretty good, especially for little things. AI works great. And it definitely works a lot faster than you would be able to do for like little things. Transform this object into that object, make a simple thing that makes a API call to this service. It'll just kind of whip it out for you. The problem currently with AI is that as the complexity of whatever you're developing increases, AI just gets more confused and it doesn't work that well, which is good. Like, I want AI to not work well because I want to keep my job. Unfortunately, I think over time, it's just going to continue to improve and improve and improve. So there will be a time at some point in the future. I mean, basically what's going to happen is they're going to need less and less software engineers. So right now you need, 10 software engineers on a team. As this whole grocery store metaphor continues, you're going to have all these AI agents working. And instead of 10 software engineers, maybe you need 2 software engineers to do the same amount of work. On the optimistic side, you might say, well, maybe these companies will just try to get more work done, just develop more features, develop more things, and move faster, and they'll be able to employ the same amount of software engineers. That's possible, but I think for a lot of companies, you kind of have a set amount of stuff you want to do, and you're trying to do that with the least resources possible. So that's why I think basically just as time goes on, there'll be a need for less and less software engineers. For me personally, trying to keep my job, what I'm trying to do is become more and more familiar with AI so I can be that one self-checkout software engineer managing all the AI agents. But looks pretty bleak for the new people getting in the industry. I've been in this industry for a very long time, and right now I'm doing pretty well, which is great. If you're coming straight out of college, I can't believe how much it's turned around for software engineers. When I got out of college, it was okay. And basically, like, it was been very good for new graduates. The demand is super high, the pay is super high, and a ton of people got into it for that reason. Excuse me. But now, the market is very saturated, and with AI coming in, it just makes the problem much, much worse, because for very simple tasks, definitely a lot of stuff that you used to be able to give like an intern, you could just knock out much faster using AI. Not necessarily everything. Like I said, I think still the big challenge is if you have a very large code base, it's kind of hard to just open AI and say, hey, do this feature. It needs a lot of context. A lot of the times the context isn't in the code, and it's just stuff that people talk about. I mean, to be honest, I think one thing that would be good for humans writing code is just to do a worse job with documentation. People already do a bad job with documentation, and I'm a big fan of writing good documentation, but I think anything that helps AI at this point is not good for you, and you should try to not do it. So maybe that's the key, is just kind of write more confusing code, don't document what it does, and a lot of that knowledge is passed down like verbally from one software engineer to the other, kind of cutting AI out of the loop. And maybe that's how we save some of these jobs. But either way, near future, I think software engineers are basically the one self-checkout employee, kind of sitting there scrolling on their phone while the self-checkout machines just do 95% of the work. And that's where I see it going in the near future. So if you're a software engineer, what do you think about this? Do you agree? Do you think it's going to be better than this or worse than this? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you later.